Hey, I'm Todd. Thanks for choosing to watch my video, and if you would subscribe it, like it, all that stuff, that'd be great. Otherwise, enjoy the video, and I hope it gives you the information you need and is helpful to you. Take care. 2010 Subaru Impreza, trying to get to the heater core. Got some heater hoses here. Someone already bypassed them. Got some clamps you'll need to take off though, right here. Take the clamps off, remove the hoses, remove the 10mm bolt for the battery negative right there. Get that out of the way. Have this little thing right here. It has a little notch here. You can get a small screwdriver in there. Come on, focus, piece of junk. It's right in here. Got this friction fit piece here. Just see the little friction fit pieces. It fits here. You can just grab it right at the very bottom. Right here at the very bottom, you can grab it and start pulling it, and then it'll pull it out fairly straight. And you do the same thing for both sides. Same procedure. Then you can get to a 10mm bolt. This also has a couple friction fits in it, so pull the bolt out and then pull this out that way, and do the same for both sides. Often it'll be a mirror image for both sides, working on the sides. Might be able to use that little screwdriver and grab up in the corner here. Ooh! Right up there. There we go. Just pull it straight out pretty much. There we go, I believe. The other side came out good, but this side is catching on something, maybe. There we go. We got to pull up on the cover here on the emergency brake, pull up on it. He's got a couple slide things on it. And slide down there. Fingers here along the edge. Just kind of pulled up on it on the pleather leather, and it came up. And we're prying here along this edge, and we're going to take the screw out here. And take two screws out in here in the glove box, or whatever this is, holder area. We don't have to take that out then. Take those two 10mm bolts out with your Phillips screw, or a 10mm. Should just lift out. Got some wires here probably for if you have heated seats, so we'll have to disconnect that wherever that might be. Alright, that's next. We could probably just flip it back if we maybe don't need to take it out all the way, but there's two connectors right in here, and a cigarette lighter connector or power connector. I just leave it back there probably. Slip this off if we can. Oh, something else just to leave in place, I think. Alright, assuming you have air conditioning, remove the heater hoses. over here as we talked about, and then AC here, 10mm bolt. Should be able to just unbolt this. I do recommend you go to a shop and have your air conditioning Freon taken out, and then you can continue on, but you will be needing to do that to do this job, most likely. And we'll need to get this out. And hey Mike, a little push pin here. Someone, either the bracket's broken or someone's already been in here. So that's already undone. Then you just gotta pry it out, I believe. I'll show you what it looks like when it's out. I'm sure I'll show you a few things along the way. We'll do the same for the other side. It's just a little friction fit D-Lee bopper on there, and I just used a screwdriver on each side and pried it out. And I think this should be lifting up, and gotta shift this back a little bit as well so we can lift this up and out. It's supposed to be just friction fits holding it down, I believe. Don't really want to move though. Do a little more reading on that apparently. Well, already disconnected the battery. Disconnect the battery already, so we'll pull this little piece out here. We can stick a screwdriver in here or something and shift this. You'll feel a little button, that springy button down there, and then we can pull this back. Like that. Well, don't lose that piece right there. You need to pull backwards with this a bit. Got the fingers there, or holes. Fingers. We should be able to pull these side covers off probably, I'm assuming. Got our little buttons off, out. Oh. Screw. Screw. Take the Phillips screws out, then we can remove this, the side panels here. Pull it back towards us. Looks like 2 screws here as well, I believe. See it in action here, lefty, loosey, righty, tighty. Oh, what's going on here? Just like that, and then it'll probably pull back towards us like I said before. Ooh. Oof. Both pieces come off separately. Like they interlock together, got some fingers here. Alright, next, so we got some bolts probably. On both sides. I'm disconnecting some ground wires down there and some electrical connectors. So here's the dash panel here. Got 3 connectors. See the friction fits here. A couple screws on the side. One up here, one down there. Basically, you got to push these little tabs in here. Might need a screwdriver to help. Push it on the tab. That's a bright reflection on that with that light. There we go, blind that, block that light. So 3 connectors, and you can pull it out. This connector also. Pull that tab up, and it'll release from the little finger. See the groove in there? That groove catches on that little thing right there, little nubby. So somebody already took the glove box out. It looks like it just has probably a couple fingers that hook over here on this, and then maybe a couple tabs fit in here. I'm sorry, but someone, like I said, has taken out the glove box, so I don't exactly know how it comes out, but I'm sure you will be able to figure it out. Usually there's some fingers on the side you can pry out or pull out, and then it'll drop down and take off the hooks there. There is our assembly back here. So you need to reach in here and detach the cable from the lever there. So looks like it has a little tab on the top. You might be able to get a needle nose in there and squeeze that down and pull the cable off. Or from the bottom, it looks like it's almost off. We'll just weasel it off from the bottom with the little screwdriver. Alright, so we're going to remove the steering wheel next, and I got a 10mm bolt here and over there for this metal plate, and then some electrical connectors. And probably some 12mm bolts, which we'll get to in a bit after this covers off, and we'll see about disconnecting the steering wheel. Once it is disconnected, we do want to somehow lock it in place. We don't want it spinning because there's a circular wire device, usually called a clock spring, in there, and if you spin it too many times, you'll break all the wires. So you need to make sure when it's in a position, you somehow keep it in the position. Somehow bungee cord it in place or something. I want you to disconnect the steering wheel. Right down there is a spot. I had to put a little white out on there because I think the steering wheel, the black piece, can probably fit on the grayish piece, the power steering rack. I think it can fit on there anywhere, so you want to try and make a mark. And if you get it wrong, your steering wheel is going to be off left or right. It won't be centered properly. You can also maybe take it apart up here. You can see all the teeth on that, and I think it'll probably go on anywhere. So I'm going to go underneath the vehicle. I'm going to go underneath the vehicle and take that bolt out. It's probably a 12mm bolt. Probably a 12mm bolt, and we can slide that off. And we'll go underneath the dash and disconnect our electrical connectors. So I got 10mm nuts here and a bolt to take the fuse box. They want to disconnect that. This piece just got this tab right here. Use that tab and slid it off the box here. Kind of need space to actually get this thing out. It's disconnected. Here's our bolts for the probably 12mm bolts when you're thinking about taking out the dash assembly here. Those right there too, 12mm bolts. Ground is important there. Same on the other side. Probably going to find 2 bolts like that as well. Since I'm taking the heater box assembly out, I haven't checked if there's any other videos, but here's the heater core on the driver's side, the steering column here. Get in here. I think we're all right. We'll slide that cable off there just like the other side. And probably pull it out of that slot too. I didn't pull it out of the slot, but you probably want to pull it out of that slot as well once it's disconnected. Drop that little tab down, which worked pretty nice with a needle nose, and then pull the wire off. Two 12mm bolts, that's where they are, but they're upside down, of course. Alright, so what do we got here? Oh, we got our 12mm bolts out here, ground wire on this side as well. And I think this bracket here is probably going to go up and out with the dash. So we want to disconnect this white piece connector. Probably squeeze a couple little terminals in the back and pull it through the hole, but that needs to come off probably. And pull this out like we talked about on both sides. Got the bolts out here, and we just got our 2 bolts over here probably, and then 2 bolts on the other side so far. We'll have to go back and review, but here we are. This thing will swing a little bit out of your way so you can get these clips. 2 Phillips screws for this cover here. Down there, I'll take this off, and then probably turning this and pulling that out, and the same with the other one. Probably back here somewhere. So we'll take this off. Turn this clip like that, turn it and pull it off. Ooh, real close with one hand, but I think you get the idea. So I think this was not working well or something, and someone tried to clean it out with some kind of acid, maybe even baking soda, but it didn't turn out well. So again, we're just going to slide these clips off, take the pipes out, take a peek here. Yep, and I'll slide the heater core out, I believe. Little Phillips in there that holds these pipes in so we can manipulate them to get them out of their holes. Right there. Those little fingers probably that engage on the sides. Friction fit again, this seems to be the way to go. Ooh. So there we go. Let's turn it over. It's got some fingers. White gunk from their attempt to clean out their heater core. So that is the cover right there. And then it should just slide out of here. Heater core removal. Look at that thing. Ooh. They did a good job of cleaning it. Wow, that's crazy. That might be baking soda or something. So that's their heater core right there. Heater core removal. Boom. So who opened this box? Hopefully someone here, huh? I mean, it looks better regardless. Things will be a little wet because I did do some washing of this stuff here. Cleaned up the end of both pipes, so got a new O-ring too. I'll put this on here. They probably want you to maybe use a little coolant. I might put a little silicone on there to put it on in place. Got new clips too. Now this little thing has a tang on it, and you can maybe lift that up. It helps slide it off when you're taking it off. Little tang there. Gonna set this up right probably. Let's go this way. Wow, some stuff coming out of there still. So let that drain out. Looks like there's a notch on here that maybe we could use with this clip here. Going on like this. Notch. Clip. Needs to go a little further down, I think. There we go. We'll just slide that on there. Let's drop our bracket in and our screw here and screw this down. We'll be installing your heater core. Okay, heater core box. Need to take out the blower motor assembly first on the right side over here. You got your AC disconnected, you got your heater hoses disconnected, got your 10mm stud nut here and 10mm nut stud here, and then a 10mm bolt right here, and this will come out. Of course, after you get this stuff unplugged here, got to unplug something here, unplug there. I think there's a fuse box here. Drain hose on the plastic there needs to be undone as well. Blower motor box, motor disconnected. There's something here disconnected as well. Blower motor disconnected. Maybe a bolt or a slot there. And then a bolt or stud there. We'll see it when it's together. I didn't actually take this part apart. And then the one down here as well. Blower assembly. And if you want to check your, come on now. See how good this is. Might get a new one of these. Cabin air filter. All right, what's next? We'll go inside the vehicle. Blower motor connector and the fuse relay that was there. And we got the fuse box that was in the middle. I got these tabs you can push to release. Just push them in as needed. Oh, maybe those are just for holding wires. Here's your connectors. Connector. That's in there somewhere. We'll see that. And there's the drain. Air conditioning condensation drain. Studs up top for the heater case. Stud for the blower motor case. And 10mm bolt then. And 10mm nut down there. So that's the overview. Let's see connectors. So they didn't tell you anything about these kick panels. They just said disconnect the wiring. So we got this. We have one wire here. And a wire down here is disconnected as well. What do we got here? Got that disconnected. This here for this. You'll need to squeeze a tab in all the way and it'll unlock it. Got two connectors here. Fiber optic, maybe one or two of them. Again, just pushing the tab down to release. And what else? There's a connector right there. Friction fit. All right. So that's a basic overview. We'll start putting things back in. Hopefully you can see where things go. So both sides, this is just a friction fit panel that fits in here. Here's this. Friction fit. Interlocks right here with this piece. And this one in here, just a friction fit pin, like that. Same on both sides, basically. All right, we're looking at the back of the dash. This is the driver's side. A pretty good connector here. So let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 connectors over here on this side. This goes in like into the fuse box. A couple of these go further down, probably to the side. On the side at the kick panel. You got a sensor here. Talked about that. Connector for the temperature controls. The two connectors down below. Still driver's side. Here's this. Now this green connector needs to be pushed all the way in to release that connector. You can see it's in right now. When it's connected, it's going to be straight out flush up here. Other connector. Connector here, I think that's at the fuse box. That's dangling in the car. And then we have 1, 2, 3 connectors, it looks like, over here. You can see that kind of slides on and off the side panel. I think that's pretty much all your connectors. You got the 2 side bolts, 2 middle bolts, 2 middle bolts, and 2 side bolts for it to come out. Looks like it kind of sits on these kind of nice. Hope this helps you. Alright, best practice is to pick up some new O-rings, a small one and a big one. Carefully take them off and bring them with you somewhere to match them up, or figure you see if Subaru can get them for you. So, got the new O-rings on there. A little easier to get them from here, not too much, but I did. And we'll just drop this into place now. A little easier to work from this side, maybe, and line up the holes for the heater core over here. There we go. That's pretty good. I'm just going to push it into place, I believe. Ooh. There we go. Put our nuts on the top and put that on. See the connectors here? Connect that there. This up here. The focus is terrible. There's two connectors there. And a fuse box will probably mount onto the blower motor assembly. Right over here we'll install next. Out of the way, probably. I'm going to match up this vent here with what's on the heater core assembly. Because of this one overlap, it looks like they want you to take the case out. So, all right, motor plug in here. This will probably mount on up right here. These two tabs just slide on, as we talked about. You can release by pushing these tabs in. Don't forget your drain right here. Click, click. Like that. And of course, let's bolt this stuff in before we forget. All right, putting stuff together here. I had to take this 10mm bracket out and took all these pieces off. This one goes with the dash, and this one goes with the dash too up here. I think it'll just be easier to take this, and there's a 10mm bolt, take that, then everything can drop down. I'm not sure the wires are going to stretch when you just drop the steering column, which worked okay. And I got, of course, this one up here connected in here. That's one of the ones I think might connect to the dash. We'll figure out where these go. And then got those connected. That's locked in place. That's in. So this needs to be pushed all the way to the right for it to disengage this connector. And it fits in here, I believe, right there. We'll remount this cable here as well. There's some nice connectors here. There, locks in place there. Connector here as well. We need to do something with that. Right there, we'll connect this up, and that'll slide up into a slot in the corner here. Hook up our cable in here. Other fuse box. Click. Just double check things here. That snapped on nicely. Here's this cover here. 2 friction fit pins. Fit in the holes. And this little piece will sit over the stud down there. That's the plan. A little tricky to line it up, but take a peek in here. Seems pretty good. May or may not have this anymore. Just a friction fit on there. Just friction fit slots then here along the way for this. Just kind of push it down and snap into place. There we go. Just like that. We'll snap this back on the side. Double check your connectors. All right, for me it's a little bit of a pain. There's a rubber bushing in there, and then there's a plastic sleeve or bushing on the steering column. And it went out into the engine area, and it was the plastic bushing was inside the rubber piece where it should be, but I could not push it back on the shaft, so I had to take it apart, take all this stuff back off, and pull it into the car as far as I can without messing up dealing with this harness here, which is why we're trying to avoid it. So maybe I'll give some instructions on just taking the steering wheel off. You can still do the clearance thing. Otherwise, so I got the rubber piece pushed back in. I pulled the steering column all the way back in the car, so I might have a helper hold that rubber bushing. And of course I disconnected it then out front like I talked about. And I used some whiteout to make some marks, so hopefully the steering wheel should still be straight when I line everything up. And I'm going to have someone hold that rubber, and we'll just hopefully guide that right back outside and into place like it's supposed to be. You can't see it, but on the bottom it's bunged up somewhere before and did damage to the metal firewall. And the rubber piece got a little gouge out. Issues. So I'm going to have someone guide the steering together while I install the steering wheel, because it won't go on when the steering wheel's installed. Alright, our 2010 Subaru, putting it back together, radiator cap for coolant to top off for the heater core. Shouldn't take any more than a quarter, half a gallon probably if you're just doing the heater core. And spill some, whatever fluid came out, try and put it back in. Top off there, here's the coolant overflow. Has a full and a low on there as well on the tank. So top that off, we'll run it for, we're going to hook the battery back up right here. 10mm bolt, lefty loosey, righty tighty. And let's see, run it for like 10-15 minutes. You should start to get some heat out of the vents. Put it on hot and put it on the vents or somewhere blowing out so you can feel it. And if you don't feel heat in 10 or 15 minutes, go ahead and rev it up a little bit. Might be an air pocket. Maybe rev it up to 2,000 for a minute. And if you still don't get heat, maybe shut it off and wait 20 minutes or half an hour, and then I'll open up the radiator cap again and double check it for fluid. So I hope I've given you some good information for replacing your heater core on your Subaru Impreza 2010, maybe some other model years as well. Hey, I'm Todd. Thanks for choosing to watch my video, and if you would subscribe it, like it, all that stuff, that'd be great. Otherwise, enjoy the video, and I hope it gives you the information you need and is helpful to you. Take care.